Many rigs were made, but they were all of them deceived. For another rig was made. In the heart of Europe, within the only skyline continent-wide, a filmmaker forged in secret a master rig to control all cameras. And into this rig he poured all his shooting experience and lots of money, and his will to dominate all camera setups possible. One rig to rule them all.
Hey, what's up YouTube? Today I'm talking about, surprise, the most versatile camera rig build I've seen. Since I got my Sony A7S III in early 2021, I was just like you right now. I binge watched nearly every video about camera rig builds on YouTube I could find, and I tried to find the perfect solution for every shooting situation, like having a shoulder rig, being able to quickly transform this into a handheld rig or even throw it on a gimbal. And I wanted a solution for my audio recorder to have an option to mount this on this rig, so I have everything on one big setup. I repeated the process of buying and testing gear a lot during the last year, and I'm at the point where I think I should share this rig to you, because I have not seen anything like this on YouTube before. Although I built this for the Sony A7S III or A7 IV, the concept of this rig build works just with any camera. Just buy the right cage for your camera and you can nearly apply or adapt everything in this video to your own perfect rig. So I hope you'll find some inspiration for your perfect all-round rig. And to make this as easy as possible for you, I will add a list with every single piece of equipment I use down in the description. So what was I looking for when I built this rig? First, of course, I wanted to power all from one battery like this remote battery. And the most important point to me was to use this rig in any condition and switch as fast as possible between those setups. So after a year of trial and error and burning lots of money, I figured out how to combine all sort of rigs in a perfect way, at least for my work style. Before we start, I'm not sponsored in any way, and unfortunately I bought all this gear by myself. RIP bank account. But to be honest, rig wise, I think it's one of the cheapest you can get. And don't try to get some of the cheaper stuff, these parts are holding your camera. And as we all know, you get what you pay for, so see it as an investment. But now, let me quickly check the time. Time to start. Let's start with my, let's say, all-time rig. This is the setup which I find myself using the most often. I'm using this rig as my tripod, handheld, EasyRig and interview setup. I could also use this on a slider. Let's come to the main parts here. As a cage, I'm using a standard small rig cage with HDMI cable clamp. They're newer and lighter cages, but this one works just fine for me. And cable clamps are very important and often underestimated in many setups, because you can be as careful as you want, but there are always chaotic situations where something unforeseen happens and the cable gets some pressure. I'm not worrying about the cable isn't the problem at all, but if the mainboard gets damaged, it gets really expensive and you have to send in your camera and work without it a few weeks or months. The cage sits on a small rig base plate with a 50mm dual rod clamp as a base. But between the cage and the base, I put a nice rig quick release plate, and why I did this I will tell you later in this video. These nice rig quick release plates are built nicely and are low profile, so this works perfect for my modular rig concept. I'm using some 50mm rods right here, 20cm and 15cm aluminum rods connected with rod connector. This is important for later. Down here I'm using the shoulder pad for the shoulder rig later on, and as a little stability factor when you put it on the ground. For my power solution, I'm using a tweaked tilter battery plate. I bought this by mistake because I usually was meant to mount it horizontally. But I mounted this on a small rig cheese plate and a 50mm rod clamp. This worked pretty well for me. But the cheese plate has one advantage. I can now mount anything I want on this, like a cold shoe adapter for a Rode wireless Go receiver, for example. My goal was to have all cables on the camera plate, so I can quickly remove the V-mount and change it. But as you can see, there's still one cable going into the V-mount, and it's the USB-A to USB-C cable, which brings me to my next point. I'm not using any dummy battery like this one. There are some good ones out there, but I didn't want to change the dummy to a normal battery when quickly mounting this on a gimbal or when I go on a small handheld setup, so I ended up with this cable. And this is pretty nice because this has a green LED which is lit up when the camera is getting powered by the V-mount. That's pretty nice, and you can see when the battery is charging. And as the V-mount, I'm using this Patona 95 watt-hours. They might not be the best, but they're also not the most expensive ones, and they work perfect for me, no complaints. And on the back of the V-mount, I have attached a piece of Velcro to stick my tentacle timecode generator on it when I need to. On top of the cage, I have mounted a quick release NATO rail. It's low profile and has good stability for my top handle. The top handle is also from SmallRig with a remote trigger and many mounting options. It's really nice to have this when shooting handheld to press the record button with your hand. This knob you can see here is for attaching my EasyRig Minimax quick release mount. And on top of this top handle, I have this nice, awesome Kochu monitor mount. There are no screws you need to adjust while shooting. It's tightened once at home and then you have always the ability to tilt and swivel easily with one hand. Like this. And it still stays in place. And I tried a few ones and even this little magic arms, but they all failed the shooting test for me. There was always some situation where they get loose and I had to adjust them again. As a monitor, I'm using the Ninja 5 with a SmallRig cage and again, a cable clamp. I powered this monitor via D-tab. It goes right into the battery plate and the standard dummy battery on the back. And I'm using the standard HDMI SmallRig cable with a length of 55 centimeters, and this shouldn't be shorter, to be honest. On the other side, we got another SmallRig mini quick release NATO plate where I can easily attach this wooden handle whenever I need it. For example, with my EasyRig or in some handheld situations, and also with a remote trigger. It only takes a few seconds to attach this, tighten it, and then you just switch the cable from here, from the top handle to the side handle, and you're ready to go. As a lens, I'm using this iRig's 45mm cine lens or my Sigma 24-70, which I'm shooting right now. I love this iRig's and I try to use this as much as possible. It's so well built and the image quality is just brilliant. And there's also the iRig 30mm, which could be a better always on option. And the Sigma is perfect when I'm using autofocus like on Gimbal or sometimes when shooting with EasyRig or shoulder rig. And at the front, I'm using the Tilta Mirage matte box with this variable ND filter. There's also the Polar Pro, but in my opinion, this one is more versatile, and if you want, you can even throw a motor on the VND, and that's pretty awesome in my opinion. As we are talking about Tilta and motors, as you might have seen, I do use the Tilta Nucleus N as a follow focus, but this is only for this video. I usually use this Edelkrone manual follow focus Pro, which is built pretty solid. Just call me old fashioned, but I just don't want more cables on my setup for now. And you need to power the motor via D-tab because it needs the power for this iRig cine lens right here. But the Nucleus N is perfect if you're shooting with a first AC, and I will show you a very nice way to mount the focus wheel to the shoulder rig grip later in a second. And that's it. That's the heart of this rig. To balance this on a tripod, I simply use the V-mount on the back, move it to the right spot, and that's it. And if you want to attach a sound recorder like this mix-free, I just screw on these two rods on the back with a quick release plate mounted and throw this on here, and that's it. And now you have all your important gear like the audio recorder and the camera easily accessible for interview shootings. To use this with my EasyRig, I just put my EasyRig quick release hook on the knob on my top handle and attach my side handle, plug the cable in, and I'm ready to go. And now you might wonder how this is transformed into any other rig solution of your choice, Let me show you right now. Let's start with the shoulder rig. That's the fastest transformation of this setup. So let's see how long it takes to put this beauty on my shoulder. And that's it. And it wasn't even 1 minute. I simply add this pre-built grip setup and I screw the monitor mount from the top handle to this, let's call it mount. To be honest, I didn't find a better solution on this. If I would use my manual focus right there, this would be a problem of reaching because of this monitor. And if I would use this shoulder rig more often, I would definitely perma-install the Nucleus N, because then you can simply move this focus wheel from here to this grip down there. To build this, I simply beheaded an old monitor mount and screwed the Kochu adapter to this SmallRig quick release clamp for the hand wheel. This is a pretty solid setup, and if you find yourself using a shoulder rig more often than I do, this is perfect for you. The arms are in a nice 90-degree angle and still nicely balanced, maybe a little bit front heavy, but you could add some weight to balance it more by using a larger V-mount battery. Let's come to our next setup. Let's say you are running around all day long with this shoulder rig, but suddenly the client wants some smooth, dreamy gimbal shot of the golden hour sunset. So this sounds pretty hard to do because you don't have much time, and that's the biggest transformation from completely rigged down to a gimbal setup. But let's see how long it takes to break this down to gimbal use. Before I start the time, I will also remove the nucleus N, which takes a little bit more time because I use this small Xeon Weeble and this can't handle that much weight. But if you use a larger gimbal, you can easily leave the focus motor mounted and have a nice focus option. And I will also change the lens to Sigma Prime. Usually I would use the Sigma 2470, but I'm using this right now, and I wouldn't use the 45mm for gimbal use. So let's start the time and put this bad boy on this small rig. Let's go. So that's it. It's really fast, I think. I don't know, about 3 minutes. Yeah, usually I don't have to switch lenses on set when I'm using this lens I'm shooting right now. And I lost a little bit of time filming myself, so you can get this in 2.5 minutes, and this is pretty fast. So this setup without the matte box is also nice for photography. I bring this on hiking trips. It's a little bit heavy, but it's okay. And now the last setup I want to show you, a simple compact handheld rig. So for this setup, I simply attach the top handle again, plug in the HDMI cable, secure it with the cable clamp, remove the dummy battery. I have to change the dummy battery to an NPF battery, but this is still okay, and you get a really nice compact setup. I also plug in again the remote cable so I can press the remote button on the top handle. And that's it. That's my little compact small handheld rig, and if you want you can put on the front of the matte box again. That's my perfect, compact, easy, transformable rig setup. I hope you find a few points which inspired you to apply to your rig. If so, I will list down in the description which parts I used. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like, and if you didn't like it, feel free to press the dislike button twice. Write me in the comments if you want to know anything about this rig build, and if you want to see more videos like this or other filmmaking topics, subscribe to my channel or follow me on Instagram. See you in the next video or at the next shooting, and see you soon. Auf Wiedersehen. And I didn't want to leave out this tool. This is a lifesaver. This is a perfect tool, a small rig, Allen key, screwdriver, everything tool you will need ever. That's perfect. I never go out without this tool. So I will link it down in the description as well.